in a way, I never grew up.
Yeah, you're very immature, and you spend a long time in Neverland. And here's the thing.
Fucks me right up.
Well, here's the thing. It stops the aging process, but the second you get back, you almost get Cronenberg. Into
Yeah,
this,
you
do. You get you go through puberty very quickly, and it's a horrid sight. I'm glad this is an audio medium, because the second we go visual, you'll see how grotesque we are.
I'm very haggard.
We were 10, we had 10 for 20 years, and then we had to morph into a 30-year-old body, and it was pretty grim. I can tell you right now. And Tinkerbell was not chuffed about it.
Tinkerbell hated it. My best friend was the Fox Boy. Which one was yours?
My name is Oscar.
My name's Carl.
Who would watch this? Welcome to Who Would Watch This, the podcast we watch a film, chat the film, and try and figure out who would watch this.
Today we're talking about Return to Neverland. I don't know if it's Peter Pan 2. It feels like the title is just Return to Neverland.
Return to Neverland.
Okay, sure.
And they probably went, fuck, no one knows what that is. It's Peter Pan 2. Peter
Pan 2 to
Neverland.
Which has a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 5.8 on IMDb, and a 2.9 on Letterboxd. Oscar, what's the plot?
Okay, it's where most good Disney films start. In London during World War II, this is the story of Wendy's daughter, Jane, who is kidnapped by Captain Hook, and Peter Pan must come to the rescue. God, that is a harrowing start to a kids' Disney film, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty graphic, pretty sad. Hopefully the whimsy is still carried through.
Hopefully we got a lot of bombs. Huh? Much like the film itself.
You would, honestly, in 2002, if you had to write up some scathing review in a newspaper, or I don't know, a telegram, I don't know what they used back then, you would have
Here's a
nailed it.
script that never lands. Nailed it.
Carl, before we destroy this
Here's an adventure I'd never return to.
Peter Pan, that's what it is, because I'm a critic. Carl, before we decimate this film, this kid's classic, should we go back to last week? Huh?
Decimate?
Yeah.
You didn't think this was a perfect film?
I don't want to...
The Shawshank Redemption of our generation?
That's what I've been calling it. That's all my notes are. I keep going.
I've just got, wow, Red would never.
I just say they just ganked Red's monologue. It's really weird, but
true.
but it works in this context.
It's true. Jane is a real Andy Dufresne.
Carl, Return to Neverland, the Peter Pan 2 classic. Have you seen it?
I definitely have. Couldn't tell you a thing about it.
Okay.
I think I had a book on it. One of those like Disney, like this is just the movie in book
the
form.
cereal
like,
box.
They're just frames from the film, printed poorly. Enjoy it for
it was like a 144p like JPEG.
Yeah.
You're like, oh god, the pixels are still on the screen.
You could knock it over in like 7 minutes, and you're like, that's not indicative of a 90-minute film. Then there must be really nothing to be had here. I'm gonna confess right now, I'm a pretty big Peter Pan fan.
Okay, that's really lame.
I
gotta tell you.
know.
I mean, I've got a lamer statement after this, but you go on. What about Peter Pan does it entice you?
I love the original Peter Pan, apart from the racist bits.
Okay, so most of this.
It is unfortunate how racist the first one is. It's a real shame. But I do love the world and the sense of character and everything like that. I've seen it all. Finding Neverland, Hook.
Which one's Finding Neverland? That's the Johnny Depp one,
That's
right?
the Johnny Depp one.
Yeah.
That's like the Miss Potter version, like the Saving Mr. Banks version.
It's crazy that Disney got away with just being like, hey, do you want to know how we came up with the stories?
Yeah.
And they each made $250 million.
I've seen Peter Pan rip-off versions. I've seen the Peter Pan live plays. I've seen... Pan. I saw the new Peter Pan and Wendy on Disney Plus with Jude Law.
I forgot that came out. My God.
Saw pretty much. I've just seen a lot of Peter
You like
Pan.
Hook? Is Hook the best one for you?
I'd be excited to do Hook on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think what's really funny is it's definitely something from my childhood that I loved, just like anything Peter Pan related. Anytime I rewatch any of that content, though, it's not good.
Yeah.
I have to stop doing it. I've seen a lot
Huge.
of it. And I also enjoy the mythos now of, like, evil Peter Pan.
Oh, I guess I've not had my toes in the Peter Pan lore. What do you mean the evil Peter Pan?
It's sort of just like, well, Peter Pan, like, takes children's souls, doesn't takes them to a place where they can never age and never
Gotcha.
leave.
So
like,
is this like fan? Like
I guess
or
so.
is
I
this
think it's just like fun. Like somebody's done like a good, like a fun, like Brothers Grimm version of Peter Pan.
Yeah.
And it's not like canon, but I think it's caught on like a little bit.
Yeah.
Probably a Tumblr thing. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like I enjoy all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just crazy too that Hollywood keeps on trying to make Peter Pan happen. I guess because it is royalty free.
Is it royalty free? It probably is, right? Of course. Yeah. I mean, I was a bit. I can't really remember the first one. Can I say a controversial statement that you're going to hate? I've seen this one way more than the actual original.
Crazy.
This is my shit.
Yeah.
This is my shit. I'm keen to revisit it.
Yeah.
I'm keen to defend it wholeheartedly because it definitely has held up.
Yeah.
I can say that confidently.
Like I'm of the one that like I don't even know if is Captain Hook in this one because I thought he.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
so.
Cool. So it's a real.
I remember this one way more, and I think a
Wow.
lot of my memories of Peter Pan are mixed in with this one.
Huge.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Who do I think this is for? Fans of the first Peter Pan. If you love,
Here's
if you
the thing,
love
though,
Peter Pan,
I,
it's
as a
it's
small
for
child,
you.
I understood that this was not okay, Peter Pan, and I knew what they did in the second one was they elevated the material. I remember as a young boy having that opinion.
Yeah.
You know, that's the truth.
Yeah.
So I think that statement's wrong. So pick another who would watch this, huh?
You love it. It's for you.
Yeah.
There you go. Done.
It's
Nailed
weird, but
it.
it's weird that you, as a fan of Peter Pan, do not like this one, and yet me, as not a fan of the franchise, do like this one. So maybe it's, changing the narrative about Peter Pan. However, if I remember correctly, it's pretty much a beat for beat of this first one, minus all the other stuff.
Maybe that's why I can't remember it. I might have just merged them all.
Yeah,
I don't. But I definitely haven't seen this.
I
Since
think
was
you'll
a
be like,
child.
oh yeah, I thought that was in the first one. And
Yeah.
I remember just as a kid being like, that old one has gross animation because it looks old and the new one looks nicer. And I think I remember as a kid being like, I like the new Simpsons because they look cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the original has probably been remastered to look nice now.
Yeah, but
as
I had it
well.
on the VC on a videotape.
I had it on VCR.
Do you remember
as
when?
well.
Do you remember that old like piracy ad they would run that was just
Yeah.
like, look at this horrible static one. You shouldn't bootleg our prime Disney videos. Get it on a nice DVD. You'll never regret that. I think I had the bootleg version of Peter
I think
Pan.
the best way to bootleg back in the day was recorded off TV.
Yeah.
I remember I watched The Wizard of Oz so much because I had it recorded off TV and you
Yeah,
just
nice.
buzz through the ads.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I remember all Woolworths commercials. I remember that VCR was recorded during Easter. So
Hot cross buns were on your screen.
yeah, so there you go. Oscar, who would watch Peter Pan 2 Return to Neverland?
Big haters of Wendy and the two other children. I cannot remember their names, and the protagonist of this one, I believe Jane.
George and Michael.
Whoa, that's crazy. You know that. I guess you are a fan, a big beloved fan.
I love it.
Yeah, I guess if you hate those two boys and Wendy, you hate them.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other one I've seen. I've seen like all the live action ones. You know that one with like there's one with Jason Isaacs as Hook.
Yes. I always think that's Hook.
No, Dustin Hoffman's Hook in Hook.
Okay, I think I'm confusing. I always
Yeah.
think Hook is the live action Peter Pan with that young blonde kid.
No, because Hook is Peter Pan grown up.
Yeah, gotcha.
Going back.
I don't
and
think
having
I've seen that one.
You don't think you've seen Hook?
No.
Maybe you'll enjoy Hook. Because
I
honestly,
hate Peter Pan. I love
Ralphio is like Ralphio, right? I think it's Ralphio.
I've never heard of this man.
Really?
I've never heard of his name.
Fuck, are we gonna have to do Hook next week? We might have to. Not even joking. Like this
Shit.
might fuck everything up.
I'm huge. That's
We might have to make
Fuck
that
it.
happen.
Fuck it.
We might have to do it now. We might have to do it right now. Might have to bend into it right now.
Carl, Return to Neverland.
Yeah, did you watch Hook?
I did not watch Hook. I didn't check it out. We didn't bend into it. Spoilers, okay? We sometimes we commit to things and don't follow through, and that's kind of the pathos of this
I'd
podcast.
amped myself up to watch Hook all week just so I could, like, I don't know, just have like an aside about it. Maybe be ready for us to do an episode on it.
Yeah.
The thought of watching Hook really got under my skin, and it did not occur.
Carl, do we jump into Return to Neverland?
We should. The opening sequence is nice.
Yeah.
And I went, wait a minute. Why the fuck does that look nice?
Yes.
Immediately hopped onto IMDb. This movie got a theatrical release?
Yes.
Blew my mind.
Right? We should also say what a criminal, cheeky thing to do. Because this film...
Greedy.
The credits take up, I shit you not, 1/5 of the movie. This is a 60-minute movie.
60 minutes.
Yeah. I'm going to spoil my review for who would watch this. If you want to kill exactly an hour, this is for you. I could not believe it. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And we ate it up as a children. I was like, that's a full feature. I think it was 2.5 hours if I recall.
This is you at the end of it. I'm tired from the adventure I've been on.
I was there to my mum. She's like, wow, Disney really nailed this. It said on the DVD box they would have an adventure, and they did.
They did. They did the bare minimum they promised on the sticker.
Carl, we're flying around London, and it's as beautiful as you can remember. That's right. We're in 1941. A bad time for England.
I'm going to preface this by not only is the movie 60 minutes, the movie very, very cheekily goes, here's a fun little opening sequence in the clouds, and Tinkerbell's going to light them all up, and it's going to end on the original movie.
Yep.
And then Wendy's going to go, wow, what an adventure. And then Wendy's going to be old. And then what do? Go into the opening credits. And I was like, you don't get 2 opening credits. You could have just put this over the other one or just cut one of them. This movie's 50 minutes long. There's 2 sections of opening credits and then 15 minutes of closing credits. It's mostly credits to the film.
It's crazy. We get pretty much, I'd say, 15 minutes per act, if that. And a lot of it's just less.
They've paid for a single song sung by one woman, and they're gonna milk it over the entire film.
Oh, it's got this I think the film was like 2002. It's like budget Nora Jones. That's sprinkled throughout the film. That's our vibe.
Disney went and got like the $1 store version of the song from Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
And just
Jessie's song?
Yeah, Jessie's song, and just put it and wiped it, smeared it. Like when a child shits on their hand and smears it on the bathroom wall.
You know when you shit on your hand.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
That's what they did in this.
It's
I'm outraged
It's
over
an
it all.
odd, I guess, like tone for the rest of the film because you're kind of like, oh, I guess I'm just quite relaxed and could use a coffee right now. I feel like I'm in a Starbucks.
My attention waned immediately. I was like, fuck this.
What?
Checking out.
It's crazy
so quick.
that you checked out this quickly because immediately we're in a war zone. I'll say.
Actually, this is true. I was all in on the war stuff.
Oh, exactly. It opens akin to Saving Private Ryan. It's a lot. Jane. Yeah, Wendy's an old hag. Now Jane's she's our new protagonist. She is
couldn't get a more plain personality, name, and character.
You couldn't call her plain Jane. Here's the thing. I relate to Jane. You know, I didn't care about this Wendy character. I think Jane's got chutzpah. Why are you laughing? She does a lot.
Jane thinks she has chutzpah. She fails any point. She's like...
She survives the Blitzkrieg, okay, Carl? This is a traumatic experience. Her whole thing is that Wendy's like, man, you've grown up too quickly. Look around, Wendy. There's a war going on, okay? Hitler's on the other side, invading, just destroying your country. And you're like, man, my kid has to grow up early. Of course she does. It's wartime.
Why was she out getting socks? Let's discuss.
Hey, Mum, I'm going to pop out. Just don't worry. It's the middle of the night. I'm just going to walk the cobbled streets and look for socks.
A bombing begins. They go to the shelter. The mum's like, at least I got you. I could give a shit about Jane. It's fine. You're here and you're the one with imagination. Frankly, if I have to be locked in a bunker, thankfully I'm not with that sad bitch out there getting socks with a dog that we know is Nana, but can't actually be Nana because Nana died.
Oh, yeah. I remember Peter Pan, this dog got a lot more in the opening scene. Did the dog...
The dog gets a little bit of the dust and then rises
flies
up. And then the little kid's like, bye, Nana.
Yeah.
And then Nana waves with a paw.
Yes. Now that's good remembering.
That's just good.
In my mind, this dog is barely in this.
The dog gets a lot more in Hook. A lot more in Hook.
We get a classic Disney star. The dad's off to war. He's going to fight in Passchendaele.
He does.
And it's a gruesome
We go,
war.
is this a new character for us to be invested in? They go, we have not paid for a voice actor. Say goodbye into the mic, and we'll use it in the film.
He does like a Snoopy, wah, 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 and they're like, we'll use that. That's great.
That's right. They almost just bring up subtitles underneath to just be like, goodbye, son.
Yeah, this cost $20 million. It's not hasn't got any of the voice cast because it's 50 years ago.
I do love the trivia was everybody's dead. It's a whole new voice cast because everyone's dead.
Oh god, yeah, it's tragic. You know the original Peter Pan just lived he was like the first child star. and lived it how you imagine it. It was
Damn.
pretty gruesome. Have you heard of the story?
No, I don't. Do I want to?
No, just imagine what, like, I don't know. You know how Elvis was like the first celebrity and, did all the bad stuff? This was the first child actor. So he kind of went down the bad path.
Rough.
Yeah. Peaked in
Hopefully
head.
that doesn't happen to Levi Miller,
Oh,
the
did
star of Pan.
You'd be surprised. Now, Jane goes, wow, things are pretty grim. Dad's off to war. My brother doesn't like the socks. And my mum's like, have an
Yeah,
imagination.
the socks are shit. They don't match. And also, why bother?
It's ration time, okay? The fact she
Then
got
get
to-
him some rations. Like, that's the thing. If she was like, I got you a can of beans, he'd be stoked. That's nutrients and then a toy. Something that rattles.
Oh, a can is good. You get 2 of those, you got a talking device.
Throw things into the can. Yeah, that's right. String in a can.
Yeah.
2 socks that don't match. And she's thought long and hard to go, I've got ones he'll grow into.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to have to spend an hour with her?
Here's the thing, though. She's practical. I like that. I do like, although maybe at the end of the film she learns, she doesn't really. She's kind of like, listen, me being practical saved us. I do like they don't have time for an arc. They're like, she just did some stuff, and then we're off. Okay. Anyway,
It's crazy she went out into a war zone.
it's crazy, right?
Crazy they thought those helmets would do anything.
Oh, useless. If anything, it's just going to hit the shrapnel's going to go indent into your face. You know?
It's true, yeah. It will probably just boom into the skull.
Yeah, you're not. Here's the thing. Now the helmet's stuck in your brain, and you're going to die a slow, painful death. And that's what the film opens on for the child, and it's quite a lot. Okay. This brother wets the notebook. I don't have a note about this. I remember the wet notebook.
He's like, I'm enjoying playing and hearing about Peter Pan, and her note, because as soon as the sock thing's done, she sits down, puts on headphones, and is just like, what's new with the war?
Yeah.
Like, shut up, I've got to listen. Like, and
Which
I've got
is
a journal.
so fair enough. It's crazy. The mum's like, just play. Who cared about you, Hitler? You know, Yugoslavia got invaded just now, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Granted, though, it's her last night with the kids.
Wendy's.
Yeah, it's
yes.
Wendy's last night with the kids before they're
Yeah.
just shipped off out of the city.
It's crazy
So-
how many kids' films was based on this premise.
Yeah,
I don't
Lion, the
know.
Witch, and the Wardrobe.
The Secret Garden. There was a
Yeah.
few of these. I
Yeah,
feel like the
5 kids in it.
It's right. I don't know what it was about childhood films in our day.
I gotta tell you, there's something really magical about being a child.
When the
going
parents
from
are
the
away.
city out into the living with Ma and Pa in a mansion that
Yeah.
has secrets and just wandering around. Like, I mean, it's sort of grand. I don't know. It's full of whimsy and Britishness.
I guess all the kids that this happened to survived, and all the kids that didn't get shipped off were sent to war.
I guess
and died.
it must
and
be-
did not be able to tell their tale.
Probably. It must have really created a generation of kids who, when they went out to the countryside, had to rely on imagination. So it's just produced a lot of this crap.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, if she had like an iPhone and a vape, she would be fucking vibing right now.
Oh, she would be.
She would not be. She wouldn't be a boring hag caring about the
She
war.
wouldn't be out getting socks.
Yeah.
She would have Venmo'd that kid some money, and she would have then done a little TikTok dance.
Yeah.
And then she would have gone like, there's not many likes. Had a little spiral.
Yeah.
Eaten some ramen. Hopped right back onto Tuck,
Of
baby.
course, exactly.
She would have been all in, and while she would be mentally strong here, she'll only get weaker.
Of course. Here's the
She'll
thing about
only get
here's the
weaker.
thing about
Don't
addiction.
chase the likes,
Oh
guys.
god,
Don't
chase
do
the,
it.
Don't chase the likes.
Don't do it.
Unless you're winning, in which case you'll never go down.
Go for it.
Yeah.
If you think you've got what it takes, fucking go for it. Just do it. Don't listen to us. Keep scrolling.
Okay, shit, Carl. War's happening. Guess what? We're getting into another theme: kidnapping. What do you think about this?
Crazy Hook came out to kidnap.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more just like Hook doesn't go out. You
Yes.
know, he's got he's got goons. For
I
that.
forget the law of Peter Pan. Is Hook stuck here? I thought he was stuck in Neverland.
Same.
Yes.
I thought he could. It's crazy they can all leave.
Yeah.
And they're just like, no, Neverland's cool.
Yeah, what's Hook's thing? Because I get Peter's like, well, I don't want to grow old, so I'll stay here. I feel that's the theme of some
Yeah,
of the other
right.
ones.
Whereas all of the adults are like it's weird that Hook hates Peter Pan so
Mm.
much that, but not enough to just leave. Like he would just go and thrive out on the ocean in the seven seas now.
Yeah.
During if he
course.
wanted to in the World War.
Now, I also forget, could he fly? When could the ship fly?
I think that's at the end when the kids maybe take over the ship. I can't really remember.
Yeah.
And they do ride the ship back to. and the clouds sort of form the ship,
Yes.
like at the beginning of this
Oh,
movie.
the sails. Yes,
But I don't know how Hook got the ship back. Like I don't know how all of the pirates sort of banded back together after a pretty dramatic loss
Here's
to
the
the
thing.
Lost Boys.
Here's the thing. It's been about 30 years, or
Yeah.
maybe 70. Wendy's
Yeah.
looked haggard.
Wendy's aged a lot.
And it's not
Poor
the war.
Wendy.
It's not the war.
It's Disney's pretty cruel to their original characters and aging. We
Yeah.
saw it with Flounder.
Yeah.
They were so mean to Flounder and Little Mermaid
Yeah.
too.
They're
I
very
think
cruel.
they're being mean to Wendy here.
Yeah.
So I'm not impressed by Disney and what they're doing.
Guys, not on.
Yeah.
Not on.
I've got a genuine statement, which I'm ready. We could. I think let's get to Neverland and then I'll dive into it. But I
Okay,
think
huge.
Disney's a coward, and I'm not afraid to say it. And
Walt?
we'll
Mr.
talk about-
Walt.
Yeah, directly Walt. Is he
Okay.
still alive during this one?
I can
I
tell
know
right
the
now.
voice cast didn't survive, but did Walt?
Oh,
did
buddy.
Walt?
Oh, buddy. I think this might have actually been his last film. I think, or he died around the time.
I think he put his last stamp of approval on Meet the Robinsons. He was like, "That's a good note to go out on," and just rolled over into his grave.
Okay, Wendy is brutally kidnapped. They don't take the other child. They just take Wendy.
Why did they go? That kid's got moxie.
They go, that kid's got moxie. And
This
we go,
one could learn a
we-
lesson.
we-
Put her in a
yeah.
sack.
We go, I reckon we can get one arc out in 60 minutes.
Oh,
Bing,
yeah.
bang, boom.
Oh,
The
yeah.
other one had 3 kids. This one was like, we're taking Wendy. She's going to learn maybe something, and then we're done. We're throwing her back in.
So quick.
They take Wendy.
We jump.
Oh, sorry, they take Jane.
Yeah, they take Jane
Again,
because they
I
think
sta- I
think
sta-
she's Wendy.
And I stand by this. Jane is her own person. But anyway, I might get confused
No, but
sometimes.
why do they want Wendy?
I think it's been 30 years. They've regrouped and gone, you know what? We have one common enemy. It's Wendy. That bitch ruined our lives.
They're like, Peter Pan would have never availed.
Yeah, exactly.
If Wendy...
If a strong woman wasn't protecting him, and that's what they go for, huh?
Yeah,
God.
look, it's because they take Jane thinking it's Wendy, and then they hop into a kaleidoscope, which I think is just because they're like, it's a cinema, we should do something of interest.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine if you were an adult and you took your kids, I would be pissed off.
You'd be so
I'd
pissed
be
off.
fucking
You'd
pissed
be like,
off.
whoa, we're out already? The hour hasn't finished.
It's crazy. By the trailers felt longer than the film.
Yeah, you'd be like, wow, it's crazy they have 18 showings of Peter Pan Return to Neverland. How do they squeeze that into one day? Well, it only goes for 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. Like, so they hop into a kaleidoscope, they get to Neverland.
Yeah.
It looks small and not grand.
We
and I was
get-
like, why do we like it here?
It's a very small island. We get like a little like, hey, remember the Skull Island? And remember the mermaids? And you remember the teepees? We're not going to show you what we did there. Don't worry.
This is where I think they're cowards.
Okay, this is going to be powerful. What?
I think that they know what they did was poorly depicted,
Yeah.
and they have the chance to just fix it and move on.
Yeah.
Like, they can redraw them, reanimate them,
Yeah.
and they can get an accurate voice cast, and they can persevere with characters.
Yeah.
And they literally choose to go, not even going to touch it.
They
we're not
spin
gonna,
the-
we're not going to atone for anything. We're just going to cut them, so now there's no representation.
Yeah.
And you're just like, cowards.
Yeah.
That's my POV on it. I'm just like,
fair enough.
fucking do it. Like, fucking grow up as a company and do it.
What was it? 2000? They were like, it's a weird period where they're like, okay, we know that was wrong. But we are not getting a backlash for not doing anything yet. And I think in like 10, 15 years' time, they start getting backlash and then do even more cowardly, just like, here they are depicted, and people got mad at us. You guys are right. You're over there.
I mean, they keep fumbling. Remember when they were like, Josh Gad's the pinnacle of homosexuality in film?
They keep doing it, Carl. They keep going, we've got a gay character, and then they go,
He's over there,
in the
and
corner,
he's maybe gay.
and he's blurred, and we're not going to show it.
What's the other one that they're famous for?
I feel like they did.
they just did one in like Strange World as well. Like, they're just doing...
Do you remember the Star Wars one? I think this might have been a tweet. But
it
was
is the Star Wars one. Yeah, where...
I think it's the Star Wars tweet. They're just like, they've got one gay character. It's going to be a grotesque alien, and they're going to look into the camera like, I like men.
They've got like 2 women that kiss in the background of the last Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And
It's
J.J.
out of-
Abrams was like, you're welcome. Put this out in June.
He racks focus. He's like, oh, yuck. We're not going to show it, though. They're there, but, we're not going to piss off people, and they can easily be cut for China. Okay, we can't stress that enough.
Absolutely, that was their other thing. I'm just saying, Disney, you cowards. Okay,
Yeah,
grow
right.
up, atone, and move forward, and actually progress yourselves.
No, yeah, they're never going to. But they'll make a lot of money off
Yeah,
this.
they will. It's crazy that they then did this, and then in top of that went, it's only going to be 60 minutes. Like, it's this is actually maybe their worst film. In my opinion, it's cruel that it's 60 minutes, there's 2 opening credits on top of 15 minutes at the back end, and then they don't actually grow up as a company. Like, oh my god, they irritate me.
Real annoying that, because I feel like we did The Little Mermaid a year or two or something
Yeah.
ago. It's the similar vibe where they go, we're going to do the first story, and we killed the villain probably, so we're gonna just we're gonna squirt one out again.
I wonder why they always have the opinion of like, it can't continue on straight away. Like they love doing a time jump.
Yep.
Like they're always like, no, it's about the kid of the original character that you like.
Yeah, I think because surely they're like, listen, this story, these DVD extras are just for young kids, and we
Yeah.
actually need a young protagonist for this to be not even relatable, but it's almost trick them and being like, hey, you guys connect with this because they're young. Like no kid wants to see what's Simba's life after Mufasa.
Miserable. Challenge him.
Yeah, what's Flounder's like? God, he's a sad sack, and he really put on
Give
the
him
weight.
Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
You know?
That's Finding Dory, huh? And that wasn't very good.
It wasn't good either.
No. But Ellen pops. And I'll stand by that statement. We recorded this in 2019.
Hopefully something bad doesn't happen to all of us next year.
So anyway, again, we're starting off. Again, we've just seen war, we've just seen kidnapping, and Hook's like, you know what? I'm just going to kill Jane. I don't
That's
give a
right.
shit. Put her in a bag, which is almost like waterboarding, and also drown her.
Absolutely. And they're also just like, here's their big change up.
Yeah.
This is them being like, nah, guys, I know it's only an hour, but we're going to take a big risk. A big risk as a company. They wipe away the word crocodile and they write up octopus.
I gotta tell you, 1, 2 questions. What happened to the crocodile? And 2, I kind of vibe the octopus. This is definitely nostalgia, and I really don't have more defending for it, but I kind of vibe the octopus. Scary.
Here's where
it
I'm
can
at.
get into a small space car the size of its beak. That's an actual true fact.
Really?
Yeah, octopus is a very way...
That's fun.
They can squeeze for
That's
anything.
just good fun.
Yeah.
I like to think this octopus influenced Dead Man's Chest.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? They were like, oh, a big octopus next to a pirate ship? That's a vibe. And Gorbavinsky was just like, give me 200 mil and a wacky actor.
I will nail it, okay?
I'll nail it. I'll form a
I think the
franchise.
octopus is a scarier presence.
I think that, look, the octopus is fine. I don't know why the octopus ticks.
I think because the crocodile ticks, right? He's got that alarm clock thing.
Yeah,
That's-
but the octopus hasn't eaten the alarm clock.
No. He's got the eyes that go...
Yeah, but why is the octopus ticking? Are they just saying every animal, any sea life in the ocean in Neverland's eaten a clock?
No, I think every animal in this universe knows about tension and knows how to cause it and knows how to sort of, build up suspense. And that's really why these animals live.
People don't realize this, but the ticking the octopus does is actually Hans Zimmer's clock.
Yeah.
It's Hans Zimmer's wristwatch.
Christopher Nolan went, wow. When he saw it in 1950, he didn't look at some other stuff. He went, time is a concept, and I'm going to use that in my thing. That's why he made
there's
Pirates of
octopus-
the Caribbean 3.
It's sprinkled all through insomnia.
Peter saves the day. He goes under the water, sets the bag. He's got a cunty little dagger. I love this cunty little dagger.
I know, it's so useless. I
It's
love
so
it.
useless, but I love they have a little sword fight. And Hook's like, fuck, he's really got that little dagger. I really can't do anything. Just give him a little stab, man. Just give him a little stab. Peter can fly.
Yeah, Peter can fly.
yeah.
They go back to the Lost Boys.
Yes.
They explain everything that's going on. Not Wendy, Jane.
Again,
God
she's
damn
her
it.
own character,
It's
Carl.
just-
It's weird.
I know,
It's weird
I
to
know.
keep getting it confused when they're so separate and different, and I don't get it. Carry on, though.
Does Tinkerbell,
Yes.
is Tinkerbell in love with Peter Pan?
Yeah.
Or does Tinkerbell just get jealous when there's other people around Peter? Or does Tinkerbell just hate women?
I think you have to remember it was the 1950s. Disney
This
went...
is 2000s.
No. Disney was like, right, we can do all the racist stuff and women be women and they be jealous bitches. And the animators went, right, we're not going to do the Native Indians thing, but I tell you what we're going to do. Tinkerbell being a bitch towards women, that's gold. We struck gold there.
Because I was like, wow, I think Tinkerbell's actually offensive. Like now, I was like...
But she be shopping sometimes and she be jealous and that's kind of what women be doing. It was fine. It was 2003. I just think she's like just a catty woman.
She's
that's
mean to Jane.
Was she the
and
second
she was mean to Wendy the entire... And because Tinkerbell took off as a character.
Yeah.
And it's crazy too. Cause
It is funny that she's like kind of the representation of like, she's almost like a Disney princess, but she's a mean woman. And I think that's and it's cruel to do that for her because she lives in a boy's world and she's just trying to survive, man. And you know what? She's seen, I see the other guys, they pick on the girls. If I pick on the girls, then they'll accept me.
Tinkerbell...
She lives in a man's world.
Tinkerbell would thrive today in the real world. She should leave Neverland.
Yeah, 100%.
Nobody would ever... I'll tell you what, people believe in fairies now.
Yeah.
She would be fine. It's crazy she's so mean to Jane, even though she was mean to Wendy last time and then came around to Wendy.
Yeah.
She's regressed as a character.
It's been 30 years. She's been hanging out with the Lost Boys.
It's been like a day here.
The Lost Boys are pretty vile, okay?
They're disgusting.
They've got some bad, they've been watching some bad internet videos.
They haven't changed those clothes in a while. They are sullied.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
You live with a bunch of stinky boys, you're going to get some weird views,
Getting
okay?
some real Sydney White vibes here. That's a throwback.
That is a
but
throwback.
The thing is, Tinkerbell's just mean to Jane, and then Jane turns around and is like, I don't believe in you. And Tinkerbell's like, whoa, my God.
And the
a
Lost
stab
Boy-
of my own dagger. Oh my God, how does it feel to be mocked? How does it feel to be put down?
Well, do you remember the first thing we see, Tinkerbell goes, right, what's that, Jane? She gives her a push. Her a push.
She's mean.
She's a meanie.
Tinkerbell, I'm going to say it right now, I don't like her.
But I think that's the effect of the 1950s, Carl. We've come a long way, okay? We've come a long way. Tinkerbell has been mistreated, okay, in a society. We've got to do a lot for her, She's got a lot of learning to do, but that's not on her.
Because Tinkerbell got a lot of sequels, right? Doesn't Tinkerbell have like the Barbie treatment?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
God.
Kids go, it was crack for them, Tinkerbell. It's a little fairy. What don't you love about that, huh? Kids, that was crack for little children, okay?
In concept, Tinkerbell's great. Like, I get it. Guys, here's what I'm trying to say. As a Peter Pan fan, I get it. I get the hype, I see it. But I don't appreciate how she treats Wendy or how she treats Jane.
Yeah.
And she needs to learn.
Yeah.
And you know what I dare say she needs to do? Grow up.
Well, here's the issue, though, and I think the filmmakers went, okay, shit, Tinkerbell learned her lesson. However, the only thing holding Jane back from this 60-minute film is flying home. And we go, well, shit, Tinkerbell's the only one that can give a flight, so we need to make them not happy. They don't do anything. They're just like, well, Tinkerbell's back to being a mean...
Here's a fun, conflict.
Yeah.
Jane's like, Tinkerbell, don't you want a better life? Tinkerbell's like, hells yeah, I do. The two of them, they fly back to London. Peter Pan doesn't know what to do without Tink.
Yeah.
And and he gets horrifically killed by Hook. Hook takes over the land, and Jane has to come back with Wendy and do whatever.
And you know what? You got a B plot because Tinkerbell and Jane, they're back in World War II. Guess what? Tinkerbell with the Allies, that is a film. What's Hitler gonna do?
Yeah.
What's Hitler gonna do? They have flights.
Holy shit,
they
a
have
flying
flights.
army?
What are you
this
gonna
would
do?
be so grand. I'd watch this in a cinema, even if it was 60 minutes.
Well, wouldn't that be magical? Imagine
They've
that.
got to get the dad back, like in Saving Private Ryan.
Oh my God! But imagine
wouldn't
if
that just be good
imagine if
cinema?
Tom Hanks could fly. That would be done. That opening scene on the beach, he just flies over.
I've always thought.
Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan was a 4.5 film, and I was never sure as to what it was missing. It's flight.
Yeah.
They're missing
Imagine
the ability to fly.
Imagine that opening scene. They're all on the beach. Everyone's cowering down. Suddenly, Tom Hanks flying over, and then Normandy. I assume he has a big bomb. He just starts dropping them on the Nazis.
No,
It'd be good.
I think it'd be great if he didn't use it at all during the movie, and then once he met Vin Diesel and he started talking to him, he went, "Nah, man," and just levitated and got out of there.
I would have loved it at the end, and I haven't seen the end of Saving Private Ryan. I'm going to take some wild swings. I assume they find Ryan, and I hope, like Lord Lord of the Rings.
You idiot.
No. I'm pretty sure how it happened. I like at the end of the Lord of the Rings, they do the eagle thing. I like Tom Hanks picks up Matt Damon and flies him back to his mother, drops him off on the doorstep.
That'd be great. Then Tom Hanks turns around, high fives Jane, high fives Wendy, high fives Tink. They all jump in the air. Freeze frame, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Again,
Boom,
and
boom.
Peter gets his comeuppance because Hook, quite frankly, deserves to kill that boy.
We just cut back. Peter's face down in the water, dead, and the octopus is just curling around him, going, ready to eat him.
The beak.
That's a film.
That's a film.
Tink's a winner.
Carl, we're left with this garbage, though.
What are we doing? Padding the episode, maybe?
No, don't be ridiculous. Now,
if there's one thing that I think is just it's a big personality trait that I hate of Hook.
you hate Hook. No, I'm kind of. I think.
No. One personality trait.
Okay.
He's
cowardly.
If there's one
he should stand up to that boy.
If there's one thing, he loves seeing a hat and designating that's a dead man and celebrating immediately.
I will say this. Here's the thing. We open, Jane's saved and he thinks he's killed Peter. And I can tell you right now, Hook has this look in his eye, like he's achieved his dreams, but it's empty back there, isn't it? He goes, Mr. Smee, get the champagne. And you can see in his eyes, like, well, the chase was actually what I enjoyed. And now having this, I'm left with nothing.
It's really poignant.
The hell am I meant to do? Yeah. It is a beautiful tale on achieving your dreams. I think he's actually in that moment realized that his whole life dedicated to this, not worth it. Eternity, because he can never die. Luckily, Peter comes back. Oh, that floating hat.
He buys this death. Hook, line, and sinker.
I'm confused. There was no fishing in this, okay? Bit confused. That's it. His hook hand.
Right.
With the guy that found Australia called Captain Hook, am I just being... Cook. Classic. Yeah, classic. Yeah.
It's, what is it? Yeah. Hook, line, sinker, tailor, spy.
The other pirates, I mean, good for them.
Let's talk about Smee for a while.
Okay.
I love Smee. Always had a good relationship with him in every iteration. You'll love him in Hook, played by Bob Hoskins, one of his best performances.
Good for him.
Runs away with it, if you will.
Of course. It's Smee. It's a character you can read, Delvin. It's the Joker of the 1990s.
He really is.
Yeah.
Honestly, Heath Ledger would have made a great Smee.
Of course.
Would have made a great Smee. If there's one downfall in the new... Peter Pan and Wendy, which isn't particularly good.
Is that a movie or is that a series?
It's the movie made by the guy that did like Ghost Story and The Man and the Gun and The Green Knight.
Damn, really?
Yeah, it's got a vision. It's not very good, but there's definitely like a sense of style
was
to
it.
Was
it a COVID movie? Was it? I can't
no,
remember.
No, it wasn't. I think it was made for cinemas and they were like, this isn't very good. Yeah, it's really dull and boring.
Oh, gotcha.
But there's a vision.
Yeah.
It's just not working. But the reason that movie doesn't succeed is people forget a Peter Pan movie hinges on Smee.
The crux of Peter and or Pan is Smee. I do like that.
Do you know how I know this? How? Most of Finding Neverland's about coming up with the character of Smee.
Fuck off. Are you shitting me?
Yes, I'm joking. It's him looking at Kate Winslet the entire time being like, God, you got Smee
I would love
energy.
when the film opens and they're just like, listen, I've ripped Peter Pan, it just ain't working. And then he goes, little boys, what do you think? Smee, is he working? And they go, Smee would absolutely nail this.
It's missing a bumbling idiot.
Well, I think it adds a lot to Cook's character. Hook's character.
It does.
My mistake.
It does.
I like them. I'm happy to root for Hook. You know?
Yeah, I think Hook's really famous for a
classic.
reason. I think Hook's a really memorable Disney villain, right?
I think so.
Good design, good name.
Yeah.
Like the concept of his
I
hook
remember the
hand.
crocodile thing just being... I loved that stuff as a kid. It's just Roadrunner, essentially.
Yeah, it's just good fun. Yeah. I would have loved it if maybe he's lost over time his other hand to the octopus.
There was one visual gag I liked. Hook was like, when he's trying to chat to Wendy, he's like, my mother's going to be so sad. Shows her a shot of her. It just looks like him. 2 hooks, though. Bit of fun. Nothing wrong with that.
It is good. The other visual gag I like is the Lost Boys try to catch Jane, and she just burrows into the ground, and they're like, oh, whoops.
Let's get into, essentially, there isn't much plot
There's
here.
not a lot. Jane tries to escape.
Yeah.
She has fashioned a boat very quick.
Yeah.
If she was the leader Castaway, she'd be out of there in 40
Here's
minutes.
the thing. Again, I think the film is like criticizing her. She is ready for wartime and she's prepared.
She is.
And the film should not mock her for that.
It's sort of wild because the movie keeps being like she's got good ideas and she's got moxie and she can get herself out of every situation, but fumbles it every time.
Yeah.
Because they need her to hang around, but it also just means that like her being like a strong character doesn't come across if everything she does fails all the time.
I think like it's crazy. Wendy's like she's growing up too fast, and that's on her. I think Jane is surviving in this this horrible world. Honestly, you look around and go, God, it's not for me.
Did she not pay attention to how many kaleidoscopes they needed to fly through to get to Neverland? And she's packing a dozen bananas?
Ridiculous.
That's not enough.
10 coconuts? What are you gonna do with that?
What are
you
you
gonna
gonna
you
do?
gonna open that with an oar? No.
How you gonna crack them open?
Yeah.
Huh? Use your head.
Use your coconut.
Use your coconut, huh? You wacky banana. So this is when Captain Hook realizes, hey, she doesn't want to be here.
Yeah.
And I can probably promise her false hope of getting away.
Yeah.
So me and her can team up to lure Peter Pan to his death.
It's crazy.
She's all in.
Well, here's the thing. She's all in, and then the second she thinks back, goes, oh, God, that man with the hook, he's famously evil. As I have so much awareness because it's wartime, I know a man with a hook is very evil.
And I've been told the story dozens of times. Dozens of times I've been told this man tried to kill my mother and my uncles all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, most of the stories are about him killing or attempting to kill, and I didn't see it coming. Should have known there's a weapon living in him.
She wouldn't. Here's the thing. Yes, that's true. Here's the thing. Although she's kind of on the side, the second she finds the treasure, goes, "Oh, listen, I'm not gonna rat my boys. You know, they have the power of flight.
I love my Lost Boys.
I love the Lost Boys.
It's like that. It's like Bob Odenkirk in Little Women.
No.
She's like my Lost Boys.
I gotta tell you, I think I love the spitting thing as a child, so I won't knock off points for it. But God, seeing as an adult, this is gross. But I definitely did this as a child. I love spitting and give a handshake. That's real test of friendship.
It is, isn't it? Now, but as an adult, you want to cut your hand open.
Yeah,
you want to be blood brothers.
Blood brothers is really a lot more stronger bond. There's sweat, blood, and tears, and I gotta tell you, bloods are at the top.
It
there.
is.
Tears is mid, but sweat as a spit, not really that strong.
Everybody cries all the time.
Yeah.
Nothing special about it.
Yeah.
Here's the
Well, I
thing.
just watched Neverland.
I cry daily. I never bleed.
No, and I think that's a flaw about you.
I think so too. Here's the thing: gods can't bleed, but they can cry. I do enjoy that. Like the movie is sort of being like, isn't it lonely when you're smart? Because she's just sort of like sitting on a rock being like, I miss everyone.
Yeah.
And I've isolated myself because I'm too clever. And you're like,
but
is this the moral?
I
What
don't
are you
know
trying to say?
I think in this point they're going, right, it's crazy. We just had one character come to Neverland, and the writer's going, all right, what's her arc? Let's see. Maybe she's lonely because it's smart. No, we can't do that. You know what? It's 60 minutes. Let's just end it, huh?
It is also the same arc, right? Like in the original, it's Wendy that needs to learn not to grow up.
Yes, but I feel like Wendy had more flaws, and it was like she was.
I wonder if it's even a longer movie. It might only be 15 minutes longer. I think the first Peter Pan's short.
No. The first Peter Pan short is like. I think it's an hour 30. This is dead on 50 minutes with the opening.
Yeah, it's like 15. Yeah, it's just... Anyway, so it's odd. I don't really know... Like, other than just being like, don't grow up yet. Which, I mean, I get that moral and they use it a lot. But... It's wartime, the dad's gone,
Thank you.
the mum's living in a fantasy world.
Like
she's got to grow up a little.
Yeah, I feel like the message normally of this one is like, damn, it sucks that war makes kids grow up quicker.
Yes.
That's normally the narrative.
Yeah.
Not just, hey, listen, it's wartime, but don't you worry about it. Play with your imagination.
It's probably more nuanced to say you are going to grow up quicker, but never use a sense of childlike one. Like never lose a little bit of yourself.
You can imagine the rise going, fuck, that was it. But we've already animated 30 minutes, so fuck it. Let's just, we'll wrap this up. Pretty much, Peter Pan gets captured. They steal the treasure. It's in the big Skull Island. That's where I would have looked first.
Yeah, that's absolutely where I would have looked first. Coming into Neverland, I would have been like, it's there. Could have told you from the sack. Be like, is there a skull? Like, because it's probably near there.
I looked on the treasure map. There looks like a Skull Island in the top corner. It's definitely, whatever you've got, that's probably where it goes.
I really wish Smee was in charge. He'd run away with it, wouldn't he?
Here's the thing. I think he would be a weak leader, but I think in 20 years' time, people would look back and go, that kindness is what we needed.
He'd grow.
But at the time, they wouldn't respect him, and that's not on.
I think it should more be like, never underestimate a Smee. I reckon that'd be a good a good message and moral.
Well, here's the thing. It's
Every
more-
friend group's got a SME.
Oh, of course. And if you don't have one, guess what? You're the Smee. Or the Hook.
It
Or
is.
maybe the Crocodile. Or maybe Jane. Here's the thing. Friendships are very varied and normally consist of 7 characters from Peter Pan.
Yeah, I remember watching that movie, The Duff, and I was like, what does this term mean? And then they explained it in the movie, and I went, oh, they mean a SME.
It's crazy. Looks at the camera, go, "You're smeeing it
You're
right now.
SMEing me.
You're smeeing me."
I can't believe you think I'm the SME.
They capture Peter Pan. They leave Jane. Go, "Hey, we know you betrayed you, but just don't worry about us, huh? You are left to your own devices. Kill this woman. That's my thing."
yeah.
Hook should have, come on, man. It's not on.
Yeah.
She runs over to Tinkerbell, goes, "Listen, girl, I'm sorry. Girl on girl hate. We are now, we're tight. Okay, let's go save those boys."
She's
Huh?
like, we're just two sisters.
Yes, it's powerful.
And they fly. And
They fly. They save Peter Pan because now Jane can fly. All of the positives I can say about this film is just I like Hook getting comeuppance with the octopus. I think that's fun. I think this octopus scene is kind of fun, but that's it. Yeah, the film just ends, doesn't it?
Sure does. They overcome the stuff, and the octopus is like, you look like fish. And Peter's like, go home. And they go home, and then they're like, nothing's changed and everything's fun. Was it a dream? And then Wendy just like goes face to face with Peter, and Peter's like, you got old.
It's pretty crushing, isn't
Yeah, and I
it?
was like,
Wendy
oh,
goes,
okay.
but she almost has like she almost feels sad for him, like, "Peter, you never did grow up." It's one
of those things where I think she's like, wow, I really outgrew you.
Yeah.
You know?
And
Like, you're
ironically,
just-
she was like, "Man, I grew up at the right time." And
That's
War
right.
did that to me.
Yeah. I wonder if it's going to feel like. This is the thing I probably would have said to Peter if I was Wendy. I'd be like, so are you just going to do this generationally?
Yeah.
Or is none of it special?
It'd be weird if you're like, "Man, is my granddaughter going to get the same treatment for years?" Because I don't know if this is on. This kind of fucked me up for my teenage years. I kind of was an outcast because, like, hey, you guys remember Peter Pan? He would come to your, windowsill, you go to Neverland. They're like, "No, I don't understand that. It's the 1920s. We're going to a speakeasy." That's what happened, and Wendy's resentful for that.
It's true. And that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
God, you nailed the 20s.
Thank you.
Oscar, who would watch Return to Neverland, Peter Pan 2? He's back again.
He's back again.
Return to Neverland.
Hook, line, and
the
sinker.
60-minute version in cinemas now. Hold back your dollars. Oscar, who would watch it?
Carl, if you've got 60 minutes to kill and you kind of go, "Listen, I could actually kind of give or take 4 minutes. You've got a 64-minute window. This is the film for you." No, I loved this one as a kid. I was a dumb kid. And I think that's really it. It's so cheeky they put this in cinemas. This cost $20 million.
Yeah.
It made 120. It probably made a lot more on DVD sales.
There are moments where the animation looks cinematic. Like,
I think-
I knew immediately, I was like, whoa, what is this? And I was like, it did go to the
That
cinema.
boat going through London
yeah.
is by far the best scene.
Yeah,
I think so.
almost feels added. I wonder if it did start out as direct-to-video and then they just decided to spruce it a bit for cinemas.
Probably
Because
right.
it's 60 minutes.
Yeah,
You
I think-
can't escape that.
No. It is crazy that I think I feel I was going to say it's sort of just a modern this would sub in for hey kid, you want to watch Peter Pan? Don't watch the first one. It's a bit racist and just completely outdated. Watch this one. But I think as you said, it's a bit cowardly of Disney to be like, "Here's the product we made.
And we've cut the thing that you were frustrated about.
Yeah.
So there.
And we're going to make a lot of money off that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
So I guess cowards, and I guess us in turn because we watched it.
Yeah, that's right.
I
But
loved it.
we are cowardly.
I loved it as a kid, and I never grew up because of this message.
We do give Smee.
Oh yeah.
We give Smee.
Oh,
energy.
this is a podcast.
We're very
like this.
Smee-core.
This is Smee-core,
Yeah.
exactly. Sometimes we're hooked, but it's more when he's bumbling and getting
Oh,
chased by an
absolutely.
octopus. We've both been consumed by a crocodile, and it's not on. But
I've
sometimes,
got a hook for a hand.
Carl, who would watch Return to Neverland, Peter Pan 2?
I think this movie is simply for people who don't believe us it's 60 minutes long.
Yeah. Wait, what?
I think you'll watch it simply because you're like, it's not 60 minutes long.
Yeah.
Watch it. It's 60 minutes long.
Oh yeah. No.
If you don't believe me, literally turn it on. You can watch the entire
and don't
thing.
take us a screenshot of like, well, Disney Plus says it's 87 minutes. No,
It's not. It ends at like an hour and 2 minutes.
I think it's crazy. I was like, that's nuts. Let me go through the credits. They're like, okay, let's listen. Okay, we're going to name all the cast from the original. We're going to name all the cast from this one. We're going to do the Chinese subtitles. We're going to do the Italian ones. We're going to do the Spanish. Fuck it. We might just put it in reverse, like a mirror cup. And for good luck, let's just do another 6 minutes of the, I don't know, Lilo and Stitch. Can't put it in there in the end.
Yeah, put in a teaser for just another film at the end. I genuinely think this is one of Disney in its entire spanning.
It sums them up, doesn't it?
I hated this.
This is their, like, here's the thing.
This is so weak and greedy.
They know they've got to do, like, the big stuff. They've got to do the Disneyland stuff, the high-effort stuff. But they know, they're like, listen, bottom line, we're going to fucking churn these out.
Yeah.
And they've stopped doing it now, but then I think Disney Plus, I don't know what those 8-episode things cost. It seems like $250 million, and they're not making that money. It's odd they've gone down that route of like little to no effort but so much money.
Yeah, it is definitely. It's just I don't know what exactly has changed where they think they can get away with putting this in a cinema. Because what year is this?
2002-ish.
No, like it's just crazy to me. And then just the poor quality of writing and the same plot as the first. It's really atrocious. And the fact it only has a 47, the fact it has a 47% on Rotten Tomatoes is outrageous. It should probably be 0.
Here's the
this
thing.
This is a terrible movie through and through.
Oh, but as a critic, and we're not that, but for people that watch the movie and chat about it, 60 minutes goes long, but it's 60 minutes still. I got
you got your whole day ahead of you.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a win.
Some of these remakes that they've made now, like the Aladdin one, they're like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I prefer them to. I guess they couldn't get away with these 60-minute things, but man, the 2.5 hour ones are ridiculous.
Yeah, imagine rocking up to Aladdin and it's 1 hour and then an hour and a half of how they made it, and they were like, "That's 2.5 hours." Like it's baffling to me. It's made me tired.
Yeah.
Like it's exhausted me having to sit through this.
Well, I've written notes and I go, why do I bother?
Oh, it's just nothing. I stopped writing notes after I came up with my hook, line, and sinker. Like, I just was like...
It was so good. It was so good.
That's fine. Literally, it's like, these are my final notes. Jane and Peter start looking for one another. She put Pan into a trap. I like the line actually, here you go. This is my positive. I like the line of him being like, I won't harm a hair on his head.
Sorry,
This
yes.
is the hair. That's
sorry.
Dynamite. I'm sorry. Yeah, actually, I agree.
Yes.
2.5 stars.
Sorry, yes. This is a very high score.
Great film.
That, and then when the hair gets a little slide whistle as it falls down, dare I say this is a 3-star film.
It's pretty good. Actually, if you want a lesson in comedy, watch this.
If you're into comedy, if you're
Yeah.
into Peter Pan, if you're into like miracles and into war, check out this film.
Thank God I reread my notes. Otherwise, God, what a downer the
Yeah,
ending would have been.
exactly.
Guys, this is a great movie through and through. Disney knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's a tight 60 minutes, and you don't get that anymore.
No, that's the thing. It's so positive. Here is the thing. Who would watch this? I think everyone should get a pencil, take some notes, and watch this romp.
Absolutely watch it. Up-and-coming screenwriters, hop in on Return to Neverland. You'll thank me later. Better than Save the Cat. Oscar palate cleanser?
Carl, I watched a classic Mel Brooks, The Producers.
Ever seen a Mel Brooks movie before?
I've seen Spaceballs before. When was Spaceballs made? It must have been after Star Wars.
Must have.
Must have. Unless he really thought, I'm going to get this parody.
He's really ahead of the curve.
Yeah, he really nailed it.
That he did Pizza the Hut, and then George Lucas was like, "Oh, Jabba."
Jabba, I could get that round. I think I like Spaceball, but like I
Robin
think
Hood Men in Tights is where it's at. That's in my opinion his best one.
that is a better one. I have started watching The Bruises before. I remember the opening going on for weeks, and I was just like, I'll come back to this. I watch this now. It's okay. It's hard for it to be like, it's such like this is the pinnacle of comedy. And I agree, every single scene I'd seen before, I was like, that's really funny. The actual musical, I think Hitler being very like camp and everything like that, really fun. Just everything else that has not been shown, I'm like, I don't know.
It really thrives like on stage as a musical.
Yes.
Like a beginning to end like, because that's the thing is like the original producers by Mel Brooks is not a musical other than that they perform
it's 90
a musical
minutes.
in it.
The first thing is like Gene Wildman and the other guy becoming friends, and then they try to get money, and then they get the screenplay, and then they get the actors, and it is ramping up the more it goes on, and then the actual musical itself and like the comeuppance of them really fun at the end.
Yeah.
The first hour is just takes its time.
Yeah.
I just think it's not aged well, and when you've got such like backing of like this is the pinnacle of comedy, and you're sort of like, I don't know, it's just aged a bit poorly, but I liked watching it.
Well, I mean, when's it from?
67 or something.
Yeah, I mean, how is it not going to age poorly?
Exactly,
A 67's comedy?
Yeah.
Like...
You hear he's making a Spaceballs 2? The 98-year-old Mel Brooks making a Spaceballs 2. God, I hope he has some witty things about Force Awakens. He's going to nail that film. Carl, what's your palate?
I hope he's Yoda again. Or Yogurt. I think he played Yogurt.
God, he's good.
They're broad.
God, he's good.
It's so broad. We should watch Spaceballs. Do you remember when the lightsaber fights just their wieners?
Yes. The problem is I feel like I watched Family Guy do it, and I was like, well, Mel Brooks has just taken over from Family Guy, when really, it's probably the way around. Carl, what did your palate cleanser?
I rewatched Jurassic World.
Is that the second one or the first one?
That's the first of the new trilogy, the Chris Pratt one. And I only watched it because I watched the original Jurassic Park, and I was like, I needs me some more dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, Jurassic World is then like the next best one.
I think so.
Because it's fun to just see the park open.
It feels Force Awakens-y, doesn't it? In the sense like, we're doing it again, but we've got a bit difference to it. I think the idea of like, they're in canon are going like, we're making it again.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I think it is fun that the park's open and a grand scale of like, it's like Universal Studios big.
Yeah.
Like, so it's a movie that I think it sort of loses its steam as it goes along, but I still think is quite a dumb, fun blockbuster.
It's fun.
Doesn't hold a candle to Jurassic Park, but I think people are unfairly cruel to it when I'm like, no, summer blockbuster, like, this is what you want in a cinema.
I think if you compare it to Jurassic Park, sure.
Yeah, that's
worse.
right.
It's fun, though.
Yeah, I think if you compare it to like all of the sequels, it moves at a better pace.
We did the second and the third on this podcast,
Yeah.
I think ages ago. I cannot remember those ones, but they're kind of weak.
Oh, the third one's really poor,
Yeah.
and then I mean, all the sequels to Jurassic World are terrible, actually objectively terrible films. So I just think it's good
It's
fun.
It's fun.
You know,
it's fun.
It's got weird. It's Bryce Dallas Howard's characters. All the characters are weird. They're not real people.
I remember
Chris Pratt's bizarre.
I remember she goes to his little ransack shack.
Yeah,
and she's
this is honestly one of the worst.
It's
scenes
weird,
in a
isn't it? I remember
blockbuster.
she goes, "You're gonna help me?" He's like, "No, if you don't touch my penis." And she's like, "Well, you're weird, but we'll stick together."
It's one of those things where they're like, yeah, he's like this date, and he's like, animals, they've got to eat and hunt and fuck, and he's like, you can relate to one of those things,
yes,
right?
I remember
and you're
that.
like, these two our protagonists?
Yeah.
Like,
It's odd.
Yeah,
It's odd.
and then the two kids are just mean to one another, and like they're in the midst of a divorce, and
I remember because their babysitter gets gruesomely killed. I think people on Twitter were
it's
like,
really,
"What the hell was that?" I think someone deleted scenes. A lot's been deleted. I think
it's tough because I think her death scene is really fun.
It's fun,
but it's odd to give it to that character when it should probably go to like the villain of the movie, which is like Vincent D'Onofrio, who gets a bunch of people killed.
I can't remember who directed it, but I think they had like a little Q&A, and they're like, "We had scenes of her being a bit more mean."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, we've got the death scene. It kind of still works." I think it's fun.
The death scene's great. Like, the issue is that it just goes to a character who just is on the phone a lot and it honestly just seems like is maybe going through a tough breakup. So she's just having the worst day ever.
Yeah.
So, but it's weird the assistant would be mean anyway. I think the biggest issue with the movie is all the characters are mean to one another.
Yeah.
And I don't know whose decision that was to write them that way, but it's like the only way that they thought they could get crackling dialogue is if everyone's just shitty to one another.
Yeah.
And it makes you not want to root for anyone, but I like the scale. I like seeing the park done up. I like seeing all the parkisms, like the type of balloons you get and the food they're serving. Like,
yes,
they've actually
I think the creating the work.
The rides are really cool. Like, they've actually put a lot of effort into, like, what would a modern Jurassic Park look like?
I feel like the politics around it is like, it's crazy. Like, a lot of people are like, it's crazy this is reopening. Remember when it got fucked up 30 years ago? And people are like, nah, fuck it, man. I feel like Jake Johnson's wearing a t-shirt from the original. So
and they're like, that's distasteful.
That's really not on, man. That's really not on.
And they've got like fun stuff about how it's like, shouldn't dinosaurs be enough? And they're like, no, because then park interest goes down. So like Pepsi sponsors a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And then it makes the CEO be like, just merge a bunch of the fucking dinosaurs together and make a scary one as an attraction.
Yeah.
Like, there's that sort of like the bottom line.
It's kind of like they're commenting on their own film. The fact is, like, guys, you got to raise the stake. Make sure that invisible one can do that.
Yeah.
It is fun. I think it's crazy that it works, the invisibility thing.
I think one of the things that sucks about the movie is something about the original Jurassic Park feels so much more violent than this one. The kids get in so much more danger.
Yeah.
It also really lacks a scene like in the first Jurassic Park, which is like the nighttime scene with the T-Rex, which is like a 15-minute tension scene.
Which one's that one? Is that when...
In the first one, just the first time the T-Rex comes out and the kids are drowning in the mud and they come up with the flares and the lawyer gets eaten. And it's just a really prolonged scene that's really quiet and doesn't have a lot of music. And it's just like sound and terror. Yeah. And it leads to like Malcolm getting trampled and then the car goes off the cliff and then they've got to get down before the car falls on. Like it's a massive sequence.
Well, I think they're like building a set piece and they're going, this needs to raise this.
Yeah.
Where I remember
This
in that
movie
one, I think
doesn't
it's
have a
like
set piece.
we've got. It has set pieces, but it has like a one-note set piece.
Yeah,
Just
they're
like,
really
we're
short.
being chased by raptors.
Yes,
and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no building. There's no like 3 acts to the set piece.
Yeah.
It's a shame, but I still think it's turn you off fun, and I like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So, that's where we're at.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. All right, Oscar, until next time, if you feel like recommending a movie to us, you can email us at
wwwt at podcast. No, wait.
ask
wwwtpodcast@gmail.com.
Ask wwwtpodcast@gmail.com. Ask wwwtpodcast@gmail.com.
Ask wwwtpodcast@gmail.com.
Isn't it 3 W's?
It is. What am I saying?
I feel like you
Ask wwwtpodcast@gmail.com.
There you go.
I'm not going to edit in that. I think the listeners should know that sometimes we're flawed, like Jane.